Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the JD Aquatic Center here in DeWitt, New York. Today's broadcast will forego the usual introduction. Tomorrow marks 3 years since one of the most horrific tragedies in American history. On February 14th, 2018, 17 people were killed and 17 more were injured at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. It remains the deadliest high school shooting in United States history. Nicholas Dworet was one of those that we lost. Nick was the captain of the Stoneman Douglas swim team, an all-county selection, and Florida's 5th fastest competitor in the 100-yard freestyle. He committed to the University of Indianapolis on a swimming scholarship just 1 week before his passing. He was also my sister's 9th grade lab partner. You see, Parkland, Florida is my hometown. I was down the street when the shooting occurred. This terrible calamity may seem so far away to those of us here in upstate New York, but we do our part because we know this sort of tragedy could happen anywhere. We at JDTV and the rest of us at Jamesville DeWitt Athletics are committed to honoring the memories of those we lost and striving for a future where students can go to school without fear of never returning home. JDTV will be donating in support of 2 charitable organizations. The Nicholas Dworet Memorial Fund provides free swim lessons to those who cannot afford them, and college scholarships to promising high school swimmers. Orange Ribbons for Jamie was created in honor of my family friend, Jamie Gutenberg. It supports a variety of causes important to Jamie, such as animal shelters and food banks, and advocates for making schools a safer place for all. Jamesville DeWitt High School, Christian Brothers Academy, and visiting Fayetteville-Manlius High School have graciously agreed to observe a moment of contemplation before today's meet as we read the names of all 17 victims aloud, followed by a moment of silence. Alyssa Al-Hadef, Scott Beigel, Martin Duque, Nicholas Dworet, Aaron Feiss, Jamie Gutenberg, Chris Hickson, Luke Hoyer, Kara Lowren, Gina Montalto, Joaquin Oliver, Elena Petty, Meadow Pollock, Helena Ramsey, Alex Schachter, Carmen Schentrup, Peter Wong. Thank you. We hope for your safety and the safety of the ones you love. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the JD Swimming Pool here in DeWitt, New York. Sam Gelfand alongside my color commentator Katie Donaghue for this meet between your JD CBA Red Rams and the Fayetteville-Manlius Hornets. Before we get underway with the first event of the day, let's have a quick PSA from all of us here at JD Athletics. The best precaution you can take against COVID-19 is to stay home whenever possible. We thank you for keeping yourself and our student athletes safe by watching this broadcast remotely. Let us bring the meet to you instead. Now let's take a quick look at today's schedule as we are about to get underway with the first event of the day, the 200-yard medley relay. Schedule is the same as always. You should be pretty familiar with the order by now. And we appreciate you joining us here live on YouTube. So, Katie, this should prove to be an extremely exciting meet.
Yes, definitely. These two teams are very competitive with each other.
Of course, the Fayetteville-Manlius Hornets and Jamesville-DeWitt High School, two of the top programs in all of New York State, if not upstate New York. And we're off in the 200-yard medley relay in lane 1. It's Michael Berger, Christian Fuller, Matt Radford, and Matt Sullivan. Lane 2, it's Malcolm Britz, Andrew Tam, Michael DiBiase, and Luke Henderson. Lane 3, Seamus Endry, Sam Kim, Leon Wasserman, and Luke Rystrom. And then for FM in lane 1, James Grace, Noah Sweet, Riley Neiman, and Joseph Antonacci. And in lane 5, it's Tim Heaton, Harry Hauser, Liam Gleason, and Liam Hartnett-Ware. Right now, lane 2 seems to have the early lead for JD.
Lane 2 is followed closely behind by lanes 3 and lane 5.
You know, lane 3 actually has the better put-together time of 2:17.76 versus 2:19.19 for lane 2. But really, that's just 2 seconds. It could still prove to be anyone's game, couldn't it?
Definitely. Lane 3 and lane 5 still neck and neck with lane 2 pulling ahead.
This should be one of the most evenly matched meets of the season. And of course, the thing to watch right now, the Fayetteville-Manlius Hornets a record of 3-0. The JD CBA Red Rams a record of 5-0. Both of these teams are undefeated this season, but when you have two undefeated teams compete, only one of them can walk out undefeated.
Yes, definitely, and this will for sure be a very interesting meet to watch.
Lane 2 through the butterfly gets the first changeover. Now, when you have that pressure of being undefeated, does that change your mindset at all?
It definitely does. It really motivates the swimmers to do well, win their meets, and have a great season. Going into the final 25, it looks as though lane 2 is still pulling ahead.
That's Luke Henderson in lane 2 right now.
And it looks as though lane 3 may be edging out lane 5.
And first place goes to lane 2 with a 2:15.32. Second place, lane 3 with a 2:18.20. Third place, lane 5 with a 2:20.12. So the top 2 finishes go to JD CBA. Third place, the Fayetteville-Manlius Hornets. Fourth place is lane 1 with a 2:33.40. And lane 4 finishes up now with a 2:42.46. So to start things off in what should be one of the more competitive matchups of the season, JD CBA takes 1, 2, and 4, 3 and 5 for FM.
Oh, that wasn't? Oh, there's 1 and 2. I missed the second heat.
So now we head on to the second heat, the scoring heat of the 200-yard medley relay. Why don't we take a quick look at some of the state and sectional times for the relay. There are no qualifying times in Section 3 Class A. 140.67.
Medley or free? Medley. You're good.
140.67 for the New York State meet and 133.21 to be All-American. In lane 1 in this second heat for JDCBA, it's George Theobald, Lucas Holmquist, Braden McVicker, and Garrig Snyder. Lane 2, Kyler Huyck, Emmanuel Ignacio, Tim Sheftick, and Mark Brotslavsky. In lane 3, Jamie Turo, Nathan Chen, Bobby Deal, and Michael Brotslavsky, who has enormous lats, by the way. Now for the Hornets. In lane 4, it's Carter Page, Ben Rabin, Jason Porter, and Eric Bang. Lane 5, Eric Omans, Eddie Camo, Max Vidakovich, and Michael McGee. And in lane 6, it's Derek Wong, Jack Anschel, Alexander Panol, and Gordon Gallery. And here we go for the scoring heat. And FM gets quite the quick start.
It looks as though we have 4 lanes still neck and neck going into the second 25 here.
That first turn could be proving crucial as lanes 4 and 5 just barely nudging out 3, but that backstroke of Jamie Turo, means we get an equal changeover between lanes 3 and 4.
This will be an interesting 50 to watch. Ben Rabin and Nathan Chen are 2 of the section's top breaststrokers.
Of course, Nathan Chen ranked in the top 100 of New York State.
They both have really nice pullouts, really nice technique.
And Nathan Chen got the better push off the wall, it looks like, and that's giving lane 3 a slight edge, but very slight. First changeover goes to lane 3 by about a half a second.
Once again, Bobby Deal and Jason Porter, 2 very talented flyers in the section.
The top time for lane 3 is 147.96. Lane 4 has never competed with this set of 4 people.
It looks as though Jason's underwaters allowed him to pull ahead of Bobby Deal.
Porter ahead by about a half a lead. Half a length is the word I was looking for. And the freestyle goes to lane 4 by about a length.
It looks as though Eric Bang is pulling ahead of Michael Brotslavsky into the final turn.
We better use those enormous lats of his. Brotslavsky scratching and clawing, but he's remaining about a length away. And first place goes to lane 4 with a 148.55. I think the timing is wrong on lane 2 because it says 153.23, but he wasn't that far behind. Lane 5, third place with a 157.79. Fourth place, lane 2 with a 2 minutes 34. Fifth place, lane 1 with a 2:14.42. Lane 6, sixth place with a 2:18.28. As we tabulate the score by hand now, because as fancy as all the graphics are, you know what? Some things just don't change. But FM takes the 200 medley relay. It has not been often that we have seen JDCBA drop a heat or an event at all this season. They have been fairly dominant, so the question now becomes what kind of footing is JDCBA going to be on, because they're not used to losing events.
Yes, well, I think JDCBA is going into this meet knowing that they're not going to win every single event. They keep that in mind. They're not going to let it discourage them. And this race coming up will be a very interesting race. Lucas Wires last night went a 152 and is 2 free. Nate Wales goes a 153, so this will be an extremely interesting race to watch.
As we now head into the second event, the 200-yard freestyle. 2 of the 3 competitors for JDCBA have already qualified for the Section 3 Class A meet. Lane 1 is Lucian Zenz. Lane 2, Luke Marino. Lane 3, Nate Wales. Lane 4, Lucas Weris. Lane 5, Eli Kligerman. And lane 6, Nathan Walls. So the Hornets have the early lead, 9-7. It ain't much of a lead, but it still remains one. And it's going to be a race between Werris and Wales, it looks like.
Yes, definitely. These two are both very determined to come out on top.
Just a half a lane separating as you hear the bench starting to come alive. The JDCVA swimmers behind us willing Nate Wales on as he closes the gap.
You will not be able to count either of these swimmers out until the end. Nate Wales is known for his amazing comebacks at the end of races. However, Lucas is a very strong competitor, does not like to lose.
Now, we know that Wales has the distance swimming experience. Could that help him as he gets towards the end of this 200 free?
Yes, however, Lucas Wires is also a club swimmer with lots of distance experience and great training as well. It's really going to come down to those last few yards on this race.
It almost looked as if Wales made the turn first, but Werris had a better turn coming off the wall. And they are truly neck and neck. It is about a neck's length between the two of them. This is exciting swimming. This is what the sport is all about, this razor-thin margin. This pool is coming unglued.
Very strong competitors. It's coming down to the flags.
And you were talking about that last-minute comeback. Here comes Nathan Wells.
Down to the finish.
Can he do it? It's a photo finish.
And it goes to Lucas.
151.66 to 151.80.
These two will both be very happy with their swims tonight.
A difference of 0.14 seconds separates Nate Wales and Lucas Werris. That is incredible. The third place finish, by the way, goes to Luke Marino with a 2:01.08. That is his new best time. Fourth place goes to lane 5, Eli Kligerman, with a 2:08.62. Fifth place is Nathan Walls with a 2:08.84. And sixth place is Lucian Zenz with a 2:16.99.
Did we get a replay? I did not know. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I tried to signal. Sorry, I didn't see it. Oh, no worries.
So now, especially unusually, the FM Hornets have taken the first two events. So this one was certainly by a razor-thin margin.
Definitely.
And our score is now 18-14. The margin has been expanded from 2 points to 4, but then again, only 2 out of 12 events have already transpired. There's plenty of time for a comeback. That was absolutely incredible, that race.
It definitely was. Those races are always so interesting to watch.
So now we head to the 200-yard individual medley. And you know, so many of the FM swimmers don't have times listed for these events, but we can see just how well trained and how strong swimmers they are. So in lane 1 will be Kyler Huyck, lane 2 Jamie Toro, lane 3 Bobby Deal. Then for FM, lane 4 Jason Porter, lane 5 Eric Omans, and lane 6 Carter Page. And here we go in the individual medley. Who do you like in this one, Katie? As in to win. Who do you think is going to win?
I think it's really hard to say at this point. I think Jason Porter is definitely a strong bet. He's a very strong IMer. However, Bobby Deal is also a very talented IMer. And I really don't think you can count out Eric Omans either. I think it's going to come down to one of those three swimmers.
Turo and Deal have both already qualified for the Section 3 Class A meet, although Deal doing it 9 seconds faster than Turo. As we're on to the backstroke.
Jason Porter is taking the lead as Bobby and Eric are battling it out for second place.
Jason Porter was the key figure in securing that first place victory for the 200-yard medley relay.
Bobby seems to be I do not know if it will be enough for him to take it back.
We're on to the breaststroke portion of the individual medley now.
Eric and Bobby still neck and neck, fighting for that second place finish.
A sizable lead developed by Porter now. Porter.
Looks as though Eric might have gotten a little bit of distance on Bobby Deal during his pullout. However, it will still come down to that 50 free to finish it off.
Of course, Deal a very strong freestyle swimmer, though he...
Over in lane 2 and lane 6, Jamie Turo and Carter Page battling it out for those finishes.
Porter the first to make a turn by a good third of the pool.
Eric Omens has taken the lead on Bobby Deal. However, we still have a very close lane between Jamie Turo and Carter Page over in lanes 2 and lane 6.
First place handily goes to Porter with a 2:12.44, annihilating that race. Second place goes to lane 5, Eric Omens with a 2:17.41.
Jamie Turo might be edging out Carter Page for that third place finish.
Third place is Bobby Deal with a 2:22.29. Still nothing to sneeze at, but well off his best time, actually. Lane 4 goes to Turo. Fourth place is Turo in lane 2, 2:27.14. Fifth place is Page with a 2:28.87. And sixth place is Huyck with a 2:43.86. It is now 29-19. And, you know, Katie, for a JDCBA squad that has been so dominant all season, this has to be at least some form of demoralizing.
I don't think they're really going to let this get to their heads. JDCBA is a team that is very strong mentally, and I think they're going to put a lot of faith into the back half of their meet.
Of course, JDCBA also hoping to close the gap a little bit with diving, and that'll be interesting considering this will be the first time all season that we're going to have two teams of divers competing.
Yes, it will definitely be an interesting dynamic, and I think it will be really great for the JDCBA divers to get out and dive against some new people who they normally might not.
For every home meet so far this season, it's been nothing but JDCBA divers. It's the first time an opposing squad has brought some of their own. As we head to the fourth event, there'll be 3 heats of this one, the 50-yard freestyle.
Something interesting to note is this is FM's first in-person meet. Up until this point, FM swimmers have not raced against any other teams in person, so the same thing goes for their divers.
And the same thing goes for the rest of their swimmers, too. We've talked during previous paper meets about the importance of being able to have someone next to you who you can compete against, and that seems to be pushing FM to be their best today. We're off on heat 1 of 3 of the 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Andrew Tam. Lane 2, Sam Keener. Lane 3, Christian Fuller. Lane 4, Gordon Gallery. Lane 5, Lincoln Bulow. Lane 6, Riley Neiman. And the FM side of things has a comfortable lead heading into the final 25. Lane 5 will take it. That's Lincoln Bulow with the 29.81. Second place with a 30.27 is Gordon Gallery. Third place, Sam Keener with a 32.08. That's his new best time. Fourth place, Andrew Tam with a 32.10. Fifth place with a 32.38 is Christian Fuller. And sixth place is Riley Neiman with a 33.25. We can take a look at these qualifying times for the 50-yard freestyle. 25.99 to get to that coveted Section 3 Class A meet. It says a lot to the depth of the FM squad when in 3 heats they're just 4 seconds away from qualifying for the Section 3 Class A meet.
Yes, definitely. Both teams have a lot of really talented swimmers across the board.
talent is going to be the name of the game as we continue going along today, and I think youth as well, because we've talked about it all season, but JDCBA has an incredibly young and promising team, but so does FM.
Yes, it will be very interesting to see what both of these teams are able to accomplish in the upcoming years.
So now we head to Heat 2 of 3. Lane 1's Matt Radford, Lane 2, Tim Sheftick, Lane 3, Willen Arakchev, Lane 4, Jack Anschel, Lane 5, Liam Gleason, and Lane 6, James Grace. And as we're used to seeing, it's lanes 3 and 4 in close competition. Lane 4, Jack Anschel just barely pulling ahead of Arakchev by about a hair. This one's close. Lead expanded to a head, and Anschel takes it with a 26.96 to the 27.59 of Arakchev. Third place goes to James Grace with a 29.75. Fourth place, a 29.89 for Liam Gleason. Fifth place with a 29.92 is Tim Sheftick, and sixth place with a 30.46 is Matt Radford. As always, we thank you so much for joining us here live on YouTube. Absolutely free here on JDTV. Sam Gelfand and Katie Donaghue bringing you this meet between the FM Hornets and the JDCBA Red Rams. And it has been a high-octane meet in just these first few events as we now head to the third and final heat of the 50-yard freestyle.
Yes, this will definitely be a very intense heat. We have a lot of really talented sprinters in this heat.
In fact, all three members of JDCBA being put up here have already qualified for Section 3 Class A. No times listed for the FM swimmers. Lane 1, Mark Brodslavsky. Lane 2, Michael Brodslavsky. Lane 3, Nathan Chen. Lane 4, Eric Bang. Lane 5, Ben Rabin. Lane 6, Eddie Elliott. This is just an exhibition of some of the best talent in the conference.
Definitely. I think this race could really go to a number of swimmers in this heat, so it'll be really interesting to see who is able to pull out the win.
And imagine that, it looks like Mark Brodslavsky has the best start. He suffers a bit on the turn.
Nathan Chen, Eric Bang, and Ben Rabin really staying together, fighting to get that.
Nathan Chen barely pulls it out.
Nathan Chen with the first place finish.
23.85, only 0.05 seconds off of his best time ever. Second place goes to Ben Rabin with the 23.97. Third place, a 24.09 for Eric Bang. Fifth place. Hit empty. Empty your scorebook. Okay. The replay doesn't end on its own. You got to switch away from it. Fifth place, Mark Brodslavsky with a 24.82. Did a lot better than his previous best time. Sixth place is Eddie Elliott with a 26.28.
And it looks as though JD will win the event of the 53.
So it takes 4 events, but JD finally takes one. And your score now is 36-28. An exciting heat, to say the least, as everything has been so far today.
Definitely.
You know, after 2 paper meets in a row and FM not having any in-person meets, just to have this competition here it really brings things to the next level.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things that makes this a really great meet is a lot of the guys on the JDCBA team are really good friends with a lot of the swimmers on the FM team, so that just brings a different type of competitive dynamic to this meet.
It's a friendly rivalry, if you will.
Yes. They practice together on their club teams, so they really love to try and beat each other when it comes to these varsity meets.
You know, usually FM and JD not quite as even of a matchup in other sports, as FM is Class AA and JD is Class A. However, in swimming, because JD CBA is combined, there is no Class AA. Both of these teams on even footing in Class A. So you're not really going to see this in many other sports, if any. They figured out we have a camera. We have 2 cameras, actually. What a privilege. As we're now getting set up for 1 meter diving, and we were just talking about it briefly, but we're going to have 6 divers today for the first time ever. At least first time ever this season. I'm sure it's happened before in the past.
Yeah, 6 divers is usually the norm in a normal year with no COVID. However, due to COVID, we just have not had as many divers competing.
Of course, officials and divers reviewing the rules right now. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of talent FM is able to bring to the table, considering the type of talent we've seen JD CBA have all season.
Yes, this will be incredibly interesting. Connor Gleesman, I believe, did go to states for diving last year, so he is very talented. It'll be interesting to see how he compares to JD CBA's Jack Cahill.
Cahill, of course, the top diver for JD CBA. Today's meet is brought to you by the Jamesville DeWitt Rampage. The Rampage is a fully online student-run newspaper which covers news, sports, culture, and everything in between. Even the current state of world affairs can't prevent the Rampage from bringing you the Jamesville DeWitt news and stories you care about. So stay up to date on all things JD. Make sure to check out jdrampage.org. That's www.jdrampage.org. As we're killing time now as the divers are going to start getting warmed up. This is not official competition yet. We have 88 people watching along at home on YouTube, which is just fantastic to see. And we appreciate every single one of you. All of you, beautiful and special. Like little butterflies, unique like snowflakes. And speaking of these inanimate objects, who do you think would win in a fight, Ted Wren Rams or 10,000 Hornets?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I might have to think about that one a little more.
You know, I think that the Hornets might have a slight edge just because of numbers. Maybe if it was 25 Red Rams, things might be a little bit more even. But also, there are no Red Rams in nature, so we don't know 100% of their abilities. So it could be closer than we think. You know, they might be able to breathe. Do you think Red Rams can breathe fire?
Maybe. I think if they can breathe fire, they could really take down those 10,000 Hornets.
Yeah, that's true. It would almost be unfair in that way, but the Hornets do have the venom, and they are vicious little bugs. Just so many of them, you know, they are more durable. And they can fly, Rams can't. If Red Rams could fly, then this would be a no contest.
I mean, maybe they can. We don't really know.
We really don't know, but we do know about the horns. Although the horns can be used offensively, but usually not as an offensive weapon by Rams. It's usually more of like friendly competitions or mating displays. I'm not a zoologist. If you happen to be a zoologist watching this broadcast, please let us know in the comments, who do you think would win, 10 Rams or 10,000 Hornets? Actually, even if you're not a zoologist, let us know, because I think this could be a very interesting competition. On par with watching all these swimmers, honestly. Now, I think between Rams and Hornets, we know who would be better swimmers. I don't think Hornets can swim. If they can, that's terrifying.
Definitely.
Once again, they're just warming up right now. Your score is 36-28. They are announcing the order of the divers right now. The first diver will be Connor Gleesman. Second will be Noah Mignolelli. Diver number 3 will be Michael McGee. Diver 4, Sean Rigdon. Diver 5, Liam Hartnett. And diver 6, Jack Cahill. You know, the fun thing about this broadcast is that the live stream on YouTube is just about a minute behind what's going on for us. And so I'm waiting for the part where they get to talk about the mascots. I want to see how people are going to react. Of course, we have the comment section up right next to us. So if you tell us something, we're able to see it. We might read it out on the air. We always love that audience interaction. Warm-ups should take longer than normal with 6 divers, so I think it might be a good time to take a quick break. Get some water and whatnot in us, not like there isn't enough here. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sam Gelfand alongside Katie Donaghue. We will be right back in a couple of minutes. Once diving gets underway, please don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this.
Yep, here we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Diving is about to begin. Connor Gleesman about to take his first dive of the day, a 5-2-3-1-D, a backwards 1.5 somersault with a half twist degree of difficulty 1.8. So we're about to see how FM does during diving. Almost forgot to take off the mask. Reminder for silence, we're the only ones allowed to talk during this.
A very nice first dive from Connor Gleesman.
Very impressive. So we'll take another look at the 1.5 somersault with a half twist.
And we have a 7 and a 6.5 from the judges.
And he deserved every single point there. Next up will be Noah Mignolelli, the youngest diver for JDCBA. He's been improving slowly but surely. With each meet we've seen so far, he'll be doing a 51-21-D, a forward 1 somersault with a half twist, free landing degree of difficulty 1.7. A bit of a rough landing, but you know what I liked about that dive is that Mignolelli, he just went for it. He got one bounce. He didn't hesitate. There's something to be said about that confidence.
Yes, and he earned a 3 and a 4 from the judges.
Would have gotten higher with a better landing, but that's just the way these things go. So next up is Michael McGee for FM. He'll be doing a 51-22-D, forward somersault with 1 twist, degree of difficulty 1.8.
What do you mean it's not working? All right, that's new. Can you mute me for a moment? What? Mute me for a moment.
Next up, we have JDCBA's Sean Rigdon.
Rigdon, the 4th diver, will be doing a 52-11A, a backwards dive with a half twist, straight landing, degree of difficulty 1.8. Good simple dive just to get his feet wet, pun absolutely intended.
And he has earned a 6 and a 7 for this first dive right here.
It was simple, but it worked. It's not so much what you do as much as how well you do it. So now we'll see Liam Hartnett do a 52-21-D, somersault with a half twist, backwards, degree of difficulty 1.7.
Liam dove very well last night at FM's meets, and both of his coaches say that he has improved tremendously over the past few weeks.
took a moment to get his bearings, but he sticks the landing. 5 and a 3.5. Bit harsh, I'd say.
It's definitely a little bit lower than his scores last night. I believe he did not get under a 5 at last night's meet.
But you know, diving is subjective. A lot of this does come down to...
For sure. Different judges give out different scores. Never the same.
Maybe it isn't doing it with the info bar up? Okay, maybe. Let's run on that assumption. You can just throw it up there, go back to regular score log, and it's good.
Now it's Jack Cahill with a 52-22D, backwards somersault with a twist, free landing, degree of difficulty 1.9.
Very nice first dive from Jack Cahill.
He is so composed in that pencil position once he's in the water. 6.5 and a 5.5 from the judges. You know, it's something you find out even just like messing around on a trampoline. To be able to keep yourself so still and composed is possibly the hardest part of all that.
Yes, these divers have a lot of talent.
Now it's Gleesman again. His second dive will be a 105C, a forward 2.5 somersault with a tuck landing, degree of difficulty 2.4. Breaking out the difficult stuff right away. A 630 and more from Gleesman. 7.5 and a 6 for Gleesman. And you know, you can really tell just how much he's practiced it, because a rookie mistake when it comes to the tuck is you tuck your knees in too close together, but to be able to spread them farther apart makes you more aerodynamic and you're able to get more rotations in.
Yes, that was a very well executed dive.
So here's Mignolelli doing a 201A, a backwards dive with a straight landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. Seems to be some confusion of the scoreboard. You can hear the buttons beeping away. And Mignolelli just has to wait until the scoreboard has been reset. And there we go. Looking more composed this time. 3.5, 4.5. Someone's a harsh critic here. Of course, one of the challenges if you're a judge is, do you score overall, or are you framing your scoring around who's present at the meet? Because you might not see, say, a 7 quality dive at a meet, but if it's the best you've seen so far at the meet, you might be tempted to give it a 7. So what's your frame of reference when you're judging?
I think a lot of times they base it on how well the dive was executed, not as much on the other divers at the meet, especially because these divers are trying to qualify for sectionals. And to do that, a lot of times they need a certain score. So if you're giving out scores based on relativity, you might end up with some divers at a sectionals meet who may not normally have qualified.
And some excellent scores for Michael McGee with that 1.5 somersault with a pike. Oh wait, no, that's his third dive. That was the 301B, the reverse with a pike, degree of difficulty 1.7. So now up is Sean Rigdon. He'll be doing a 51-21D, a forward somersault of a half twist, free landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. So Rigdon's strategy is to backload his most difficult dives towards the end and just try to work on getting good form early on.
We have a 5.5 and a 5 from the judges.
Five and a 5 for Rigdon. And this diving portion may very well come down to Gleesman and Cahill. As we'll see Liam Hartnett now. His second dive will be a 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. Abbreviated applause before they remember that no one can make noise during a dive. Composed and good form from Hartnett. 2 5s. Is that the first time the judges have agreed on something today?
It might be.
Part of that disagreement's part of what makes this all fun, of course. So now it's Cahill's turn. His second dive is a 52-25D. Backward somersault with 2.5 twist, free landing, degree of difficulty, if I'm reading this correctly, 2.7.
A very challenging dive.
So it's a full backflip plus 2.5 twists.
Definitely not something I could do.
Me neither. You know, that's something of Cahill's party trick. He's just able to execute that incredibly difficult dive so smoothly.
We have a 5 and a 5.5 from the judges.
That's all. Well, I'm not a judge, and Gleesman will now return for his third dive, a 203C. Backwards 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.0. Gleesman will attempt the most difficult dive of the day. In his fourth dive, that'll be a degree of difficulty 2.8. Policeman correcting the PA announcer. Of course, in diving, you know, that the technicality, that does become an important point because that's what he's being scored off of by the judges. If it's not said correctly, then they don't get their correct frame of reference.
If the judges have the wrong dive, he will receive an incorrect dive with no points.
slight over-rotation, but a well-composed dive overall. A 5 and a 7.5? That's a bit of a discrepancy. But now it's Mingalelli's turn. This is a 401C, an inward dive with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.4. This is his easiest dive of the day. Over rotation, he gets a 4 and a 3.5 from the judges. In a way, over rotation isn't the worst thing in the world, because at least for your own personal confidence, you're like, hey, I can do more than this.
Yeah.
But, of course, it's about staying composed and doing exactly what you promised. So now McGee will go for his third dive, a 103B. That'll be a forward 1.5 somersault with a pike landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. You can hear the FM bench with heavy approval. Gets a 6 and a 7.5 from the judges. You almost have to wonder, that second judge has been giving some really low scores early on. Is he almost trying to overcompensate?
I'm not really sure. I think they judge it based off of what they see. They're not trying to give out a certain overall score.
As Sean Rigdon now is going to be doing a 201A, backward dive, straight landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. It's kind of like you hear Major League umpires in baseball, will sometimes give what they call a makeup call, where they'll call a ball that should have been a strike, so then they'll call a strike that should have been a ball, just to even things out. I wonder if that's the strategy for the judges right now.
I haven't heard of that happening in diving, but I'm not a diving judge, so I really don't know.
Good simple dive from Rigdon. 6 and a 5.5. Do the trunks give you any sort of advantage over the Speedos or vice versa when it comes to diving?
I'm not a diver. I have never dove, so I really don't know the answer to that. I think it comes down to personal preference.
If I could speculate, then, I would say that I would think the Speedo would give you a little bit more flexibility, freedom of movement. If there are any divers in the comments, let us know. Love to get a clarification there. Is Liam Hartnett now will go for a 202C, backwards 1 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.5. You were talking about how Hartnett's been improving all season. He's showing some real promise today.
Definitely, and I know his coaches are very happy with the improvements he's been making over the past few weeks.
2 5s for Hartnett. As we now go to Cahill's third dive. The 5132D, a forward 1.5 somersault, degree of difficulty 2.2.
hill right there.
Impressive. It looked almost like he lost a bit of form halfway through, but he recovers it in the end, and sometimes you can see there, you know, his arms were kind of going a little all over the place, but it's not about what you're doing in the middle, it's how you finish, and he gets a 5.5 from a 5 from the judges. Now Gleesman goes on to his fourth dive, the 404C. This is the most difficult dive anyone's attempting today. It is the inward double somersault of the tuck, degree of difficulty 2.8, so that is an imploding 630. By the way, someone in the comments in our who would win 10 Rams or 10,000 Hornets argument says, my kids say that the Hornets will sting the Rams and the venom will at least cause them to retreat. Gleesman came dangerously close to clipping the diving board there. 8 and a 7.5. Round of applause, well deserved for Connor Gleesman. He may have actually clipped the board. Can we throw that replay up one more time? Take a look at his feet at the edge of the board midway through that dive. On the way down, he might have gotten a piece of it. That just makes that score all the more impressive. An 8 and a 7.5 from Gleesman. Now Mingolelli, his fourth dive will be a 52.11A, backwards dive with a half twist, free landing, 1.7 degree of difficulty. Mingolelli completes the dive. He's got to work on keeping his legs together, but like we said earlier, that's sometimes the hardest part. Especially, you're used to using your body to steer yourself in midair. So to tell yourself, okay, I can't flail right now, is just it's a mental block you have to get past, if anything.
Yes, although I believe he deserves a ton of credit. He's a fairly new diver, but he is really great for the amount of time he's had on the board so far this year.
A 2 and a 4 from the judges. Mingolelli, of course, just a freshman. Sorry, a 3 and a 4 has been put up. He's just a freshman. He's got a lot of time to be able to grow and mature.
Yes.
And to be able to get these scores as a freshman is no mean feat.
Definitely, especially as a new diver. I think it will be really interesting to see how he improves throughout the years.
Now it's a 201A for Michael McGee, a backwards dive with a straight landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. We have 96 viewers. We're this close to hitting 100 right now. Tell your friends. Bring them all. A simple dive for Michael McGee and perhaps some under rotation. But he gets a 6 and a 5.5. Essentially the same thing as Mingolelli, but you see the difference is in those legs. Now for Sean Rigdon, the fourth dive is a 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6.
Everything good?
Probably just activate and deactivate a couple times.
Yep.
Maybe throw up the control room after the dive. Beautiful dive from Sean Rigdon. That might be his best of the day.
Very well executed.
7 and an 8.
Rigdon will be very happy with those scores.
As would anybody. He's the only person besides Connor Gleesman to get an 8 today.
An 8 is very impressive.
That's about as high as you're going to see in a high school meet. Usually judges don't want to go any higher than that. We apologize that you're getting a look at some of the behind-the-scenes stuff real quick as we're trying to figure out why one of the cameras just decided to stop working altogether. Liam Hartnett now with a 302C, reverse somersault of the tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. Once again, beautifully well composed.
We have a 6 and a 7.5 from the judges.
And that's Hartnett's best of the day.
Yes, I'm sure he will be very happy with those scores.
Absolutely, as we now head to Cahill's fourth dive, a 104B, forward double somersault with a pike, degree of difficulty 2.3. That should be difficult too.
Very nice dive from Jack Cahill.
What a beauty.
Two sixes from the judges.
And gasps from the peanut gallery as they thought he deserved more, and perhaps he did, because that is such a difficult dive. To untuck yourself at the very last minute is a feat of athleticism in itself. Gleesman's fifth dive should be a 304C, a reverse double somersault. Somersault is misspelled on the dive sheet, I just realized. 2.1 degree of difficulty. Tuck landing. It's spelled somersault on here. One of the judges is grabbing something from the scorer's podium, which is currently causing a delay. Looks like there may have been something wrong with his scorecard, so we got a fresh set. Now a discussion between one of the judges and Coach Bewley. Gleesman really insistent about the whole quiet rule. Seven and a 6.5. He did over-rotate on the landing, you see. Not that you can blame him for a dive like that, but it did prevent him from getting himself another 8. As Mignolelli now preps for a 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. Gleesman's really the only one who insists on this quiet rule. Like, everyone else grants quiet, but he's the only one to remind everyone of it.
Well, if that's something that really helps him to dive well, I can definitely see why he would want to make sure the pool is quiet before he starts diving.
Might have been Mignolelli's best dive of the day.
A 4.5 and a 5. I'm sure he would be very happy with that 5.
That's kind of been what he's been gunning for this season so far, is to be in the 5 range. Now Michael McGee will go for a 401B, inward dive with a pike, degree of difficulty 1.5. A simple dive in the 5th spot just to hype him up before his most difficult dive, which will be his 6th and final. 99 viewers, come on. Six and a half, 7.5. Though it wasn't the smoothest entry into the water, it was enough for the judges. It seems like the judges are less concerned with the finish as much as the composure during the dive itself.
I'm sure it really depends on each judge what they value as being the most important, so it might vary meet to meet. Exactly.
You know, one of your responsibilities as a diver is to know the judges and learn just what they are looking for. Now, Rigdon's dive is a 403C, an inward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.2. Five and a half and a 5 from the judge. Notice Rigdon, he gets more distance away from the diving board than Gleesman does. Less dangerous, and certainly a decent breather for most of us. Don't want to see anyone get hurt. Now Liam Hartnett will do his 5th dive, a 401C. Inward dive with a tuck, degree of difficulty 1.4. Mignolelli also did this dive earlier today. This is the easiest one anyone on any team is attempting. Took him a bit to warm up to it, but he stuck it. 6.5 and a 5.5 from the judges, from Hartnett, who didn't get tons of height, but he had perfect composure. And now for the final 5th dive. Then, of course, everyone has 6 dives. Cahill will do a 204C. Backwards double somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.0. Dare I say that's as close to perfection as we'll see today.
That was a very impressive dive.
Seven and a 7.5 from the judges.
Very impressive scores right there.
Now for Gleesman's final dive. He's going to end on an easy note, at least for him. A 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault with a pike landing, degree of difficulty 1.7. He takes his mask off much later than everyone else. I feel like I'm in a library. But perhaps the quiet has been the secret to Gleesman's success today. You know what I loved about the dive is he gets that kind of late turn to finish it out. You see it's almost delayed on his way down. It adds a really beautiful flourish to it as he gets a 7.5 and a 7 from the judges, which may put him in sole possession of first place. Now Mingalelli will finish off the day with a 52-21D, a backwards 1 somersault with a half twist, free landing degree of difficulty 1.7. See, somersault's misspelled on here.
Interesting.
Spelled somersault. Hey, we hit 100 viewers. We thank each and every one of you for joining us. Good effort from the freshman. A 2.5 from the second judge along with the 4. That felt harsh. Now it's Michael McGee's final dive. It's a 403C, an inward half somersault with a tuck degree of difficulty 2.2. He's saving the best for last. At least the most difficult for last.
Yes, he should be very warmed up at this point.
Sometimes you want to end on a high note, but for him at this point it's just, let's get loose, let's get flexible, and let's save the hardest for the end. Another near miss with the diving board, but that was a very impressive dive.
And that is evident by the 8 and the 7 awarded by the judges, the third 8 of the day.
FM has to be feeling confident right now. And you see the interaction between McGee and Rigdon. They really are friends, a lot of these competitors.
Yes. Like I said earlier, a lot of JDCBA boys are great friends with the FM swimmers.
It's a 104C now, a forward double somersault with a tuck degree of difficulty 2.2. Rigdon also saving his most difficult for last. Rigdon just a sophomore. He's got a bright future ahead of him as a diver.
Definitely.
Two 5s. He untucked slightly at the end. That may have been what docked his score.
Yes.
Now Hartnett will finish off with his most difficult dive of the day. The 104C double somersault with a tuck, the same dive Rigdon just did. What do you think is going on in Hartnett's head? Do you think he's thinking right now, man, that was a good dive by Rigdon, now I got to one-up him? What can I do to do better with the exact same thing?
I think it really depends on what type of competitor he is. Some people just focus on themselves and focus on doing the best they can, while other people are really pushed by what those around them are doing. Two
4.5s. You heard the slap of the water as he broke the surface tension. And under rotation, he took that all with his feet. That's got to hurt. And now for the final dive of the day, as we wrap up our diving portion of the meet. A 403C from Jack Cahill, an inward 1.5 somersault with a tuck, degree of difficulty 2.2. In my opinion, it's not just the composure here, but it's also how much distance away from the board can you get. A good dive, and of course the FM coach had to walk right in front of the camera during the landing.
A 7 and a 7.5 from the judges for Jack Cahill's final dive.
And now it'll take a little bit of time to tabulate the diving scores, and we'll figure out what our additions to the score will be. But that was an excellent round of diving from both teams.
Yes, a lot of very talented divers for both FM and JDCBA.
I think that's more 7s than I've seen all season from JDCBA, and then you had just as many, if not more, from FM. Join us for our final swim meet of the season on February 17th at 5 p.m. as the JDCBA modified team will take on the Liverpool Warriors. We are wrapping up boys swimming, and then we are heading to basketball. FM and JD will take each other on in boys basketball on March 5th. JD will return with Preston Schumpert, Gunther Schnorr, and Marshall Withers. Rowan Davidson coming from FM. It's going to be a really fun matchup. Once again, we talked about how now we're going from Class A to Class AA in terms of FM for basketball, and we'll see if JD can hang. They should have a very promising squad this year, despite big losses such as Peyton Schumpert, and even though he'll just be a junior this season, Autry has decided to go to a prep school. Trey Autry, excuse me. And Matt Saplicki and Matt Bradford have both graduated as well. So JD, in any other scenario, might be in something of a rebuilding year, but this year it's looking real promising. Should be a great matchup. And you know what? While we're figuring out the diving scores, I think this is a great time to read all the compliments we've gotten from people, just to inflate our... So let's inflate our own egos real quick. Let's see, who's been coming through? Stephanie Anschel says, great job, JD, on the live streams. Wonderful to watch. Thank you so much. Jason Porter says, beautiful living stream. I think you mean live stream, but we appreciate the sentiment nonetheless. K Gallery, amazing live stream, JD. You know, I agree with David Snyder. I think that if things get desperate enough for JD, we should show Winter the Samoyed on the broadcast one more time.
I agree. I got to meet Winter in person last week, and he is even cuter in person than he is.
Yep, bring him on. There we go. Nate Shen's adorable new Samoyed puppy, Winter. The MVP of this team. And coming into Valentine's Day, the object of all of our desires. Why can't we have him at the meet? Let's bring him here. Let's have an in-person mascot. That would be great. And now that we've done that, hopefully JD should be a little bit more motivated. Tim Gelfand says, great meet so far, boys. Diane Huyck, wow, the live stream's getting better and better each meet. We think so, too, and we appreciate that. Marie Morelli, great job, JDTV. Instant replay on diving was flawless. Chalk that up to Tyler Aitken, our producer, who's doing a great job today. And last but not least, a suggestion for Valentine's Day. Guys should have a win a dreamboat date with Sam Gelfand contest. You know, I've never been called a dreamboat before. I don't know if I'd venture to use the term, but I do appreciate the sentiment. And you know, I wouldn't mind the company. But the problem with dates these days, of course, with COVID, is there's not as many places to go because restaurants are open, but of course it's more dangerous. Can't go to a movie theater. You know, you're kind of just limited to walks in the park right now, which isn't the worst date idea, but it is just a bit limiting creatively. If you have any good pandemic date ideas, please let us know in the comments, because apparently this is how we're going to kill our time. But as warm-ups are going on, we're going to take a quick break. Sam Gelfand and Katie Donaghue here for JDTV. Thank you so very much for joining us on YouTube, as we'll be right back in just a moment with the 6th event, the 100-yard butterfly.
introduce you guys.
Welcome back, everybody, to the JD Pool here in DeWitt, New York, as we're about to be treated with a very special interview. Katie Donaghue is standing by with one of the top 100 swimmers in New York State, Nathan Shen.
Hi Nathan, how's it going today?
It's going good. The meet's been fun.
How do you feel about your guys' season so far this year?
I'm definitely glad we had it, first of all. I know we're fortunate to have a full season, unlike a lot of other winter sports. And I think we have a great team atmosphere despite the circumstances, so that's good.
How's your team feeling about this meet in particular?
This meet, this is actually one we've been looking forward to for a while. We know a lot of FM swimmers, and there's a nice friendly rivalry going, and I know both sides are rooting for each other to just swim as fast as we can, and I'm sure there's going to be some good races, just like there already have been.
Does that make you swim faster, knowing the people you are swimming against on the other team?
For me personally, I love a friendly rivalry, and that always pushes me. And I think it's the same for a lot of other swimmers.
So do you have any personal goals that you would still like to achieve this season?
This season? I'm just trying to finish out the last few meets as well as I can. Trying to bring the team some points. Beyond that, not really. Just trying to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. What are your plans for the future? Do you plan on continue swimming?
Yes, I definitely want to keep swimming throughout college, whether it's club or varsity. I'll find a way probably. Yeah.
Well, good luck to you and the rest of your team for your season, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you could. I'll kill time. Thanks.
So there we are, Nathan Shen, one of the top 100 swimmers in New York State, someone who has been anchoring this JD CBA squad as the judges have finally finished tabulating their diving scores. We've sent Katie to go ahead and grab those for us right now, and we will soon be able to get you the official updated score. It has been an extremely exciting meet so far, full of close competition between both of these teams. Two of the best programs in the area. In fact, the only two undefeated teams in the area, as we can pull up our schedule. Or sorry, the standings, excuse me. That's my bad, directed you wrong. The standings. As we are still waiting for the diving scores from the judges, we are attempting to grab those right now.
It should be in game. Is it not there? Did I mess it up? I don't see it either. Okay, well then I made it, but I forgot to put it in the thing. Then never mind then. Don't X out.
Okay, it seems that I made the standings graphic and forgot to put it in the thing that allows us to show it. Oh well. That's my bad. I'll take responsibility. Do we have the scores? Nope, not yet. All right, we don't have the diving scores yet, but we're still trying to get them for you.
Yes, unfortunately, our scoring system did not calculate them correctly for some reason, so they are going back through and calculating the scores by hand currently.
So the computers have failed us, and we're back to pen and paper.
That is correct.
As we are currently waiting for the diving scores to be calculated, and we apologize for the holdup, but we thank you for sticking with us, because I think it's fair to say that with the quality of diving we saw, these scores could make or break the meet.
Definitely.
We will have the 100-yard butterfly coming up soon. You can see the qualifying times here right now.
This will be an incredibly interesting race to watch, especially because I know Lucas Wires of FM in lane 4 is looking to break our pool record at this meet.
He told you.
Yes, he did.
Of course, this has to wait until we get the diving scores. we can't have the judges worry about who's in the pool unless they finish tabulating the scores. But you see the qualifying times. It's 108.99 for the Section 3 Class A meet, 53.95 for New York State. And we're going ahead. Lane 1 is going to be Michael Brodslavsky. Lane 2, Emmanuel Ignacio. Lane 3, Bobby Deal. Lane 4, Lucas Wires. Lane 5, Jason Porter. And Lane 6, Alexander Pinol. All three JDCBA swimmers have qualified for sectionals.
Lucas Wires beginning to pull ahead with an early lead. He
And
has really nice underwaters.
it is anyone's race, except it looks like Wires is pulling ahead. He wants to make good on that promise to break the pool record.
We have Jason Porter, Bobby Deal, and Emmanuel Ignacio all staying neck and neck. Although it looks as though Porter may be pulling ahead at this point.
If I'm reading the wall correctly, the pool record is 58.73. I have glasses, so that might not be accurate, but he is on quite a pace as Wires. Ahead by a length and a half. Jason Porter will come in second. Wires with a 54.92. Okay, maybe that's 52. That's 52.73 is the pool record, so he almost beat it.
Yes, he was a little bit closer last night. Last night he went a 53 in his 100 fly.
So second place will go to Porter with a 58.01. Third place, Bobby Deal with a 101.15. Fourth place is Michael Brodslavsky with the 104.28. It seems that Ignacio's timer was never stopped.
Yes, it looks as though we did have a touchpad malfunction, so we will have to wait on the placements and the scoring for this heat.
Okay, so first the diving, and now the butterfly.
Yes, a lot of times the touchpads either aren't as receptive as they need to be, or it may not get hit exactly right.
So we're going to have to start sending runners over to the scorers table all day, because now we have two events that are without official scores.
This, unfortunately, is pretty commonplace at these swim meets.
Event 7 will be the boys 100-yard freestyle. We have 3 heats of this. First one they're on the starting blocks for. We just got the diving scores. Connor Gleesman got a 267.15. He finishes in first. Second was Jack Cahill with a 242.15. Then Michael McGee with a 209.63. Sean Rigdon with a 194.85. Then Hardnett with a 155.48. And Mignonelli with a 74.80. So we'll get that on the score bug in just a moment, as we will calculate out how many points this gives each team. This is just the first of 3 heats for the 100-yard freestyle right now. Lane 1's Andrew Tam, Lane 2 Sam Keener, Lane 3 Christian Fuller, Lane 4 Gordon Gallery, Lane 5 Lincoln Bulow, Lane 6 Riley Neiman. And Keener's in the lead neck and neck with Fuller. Keener takes it with a 1:88, 1:01.12 for Fuller. Third place goes to Tam, 1:05.35. Fourth place, 1:06.25 is Bulow. Fifth place is Gallery with a 106.76, and sixth place is Neiman with a 113.55. So our official score now is 46-34 minus whatever happened in the butterfly. And as soon as we get that, we'll report that back too. So now we head to the second of 3 heats for the 100-yard freestyle. You know, we always talk about something's going to go wrong every meet. It's just a matter of when. First one on the camera, actually, I haven't gotten to tell you guys yet. So for the second time this season, a cord snapped off inside of our second camera. And after it happened last time, I bought 2. So it's a good thing we had a backup. So now in the second heat, lane 1's Michael DiBiase, lane 2, Luke Henderson, lane 3, Lucas Holmquist. Lane 4, Eddie Camo, lane 5, Liam Gleason, lane 6, Gordon Gallery. And we were talking about JD CBA's depth earlier, and all 3 JD CBA swimmers comfortably in the lead over FM in the second of 3 heats.
Yes, we have Lucas Holmquist taking the lead, followed by Luke Henderson. In third place, we have Michael DiBiase.
DiBiase not too far behind, though. It's a pretty tight pack, at least until that turn, and now it separates to a lane each.
FM's Liam Gleason following in fourth place currently.
And it looks like your summations are going to be the final scores too, as first place does go to Lucas Holmquist with a 57.94, just barely off his best time, but hey, he still qualifies for sectionals. Second place with a 1:09 is Luke Henderson. Now that's his best. 1:01.30 for Michael DiBiase. That's also a best time for him. Gleason in fourth with a 1:05.11. Camo in fifth with a 1:06.44 and a 1:08.61 for Gallery. And now we are looking to the third and scoring heat of the 100-yard freestyle. Once again, 57.99 to qualify.
Claire, you plugged in? Is it back? No. Did it break off inside the camera again? If you pull out the cord, does it? It's still fine? Okay. Try to activate, deactivate a couple times, I guess. Or play with the input.
Okay, we lost the camera again. Heat 3. Garrick Snyder in lane 1, Luke Marino in lane 2, Mark Brodslavsky in lane 3, Eric Bang in lane 4, Eddie Elliott in lane 5, Michael McGee in lane 6. Man, things were going so well, and now we're losing cameras left and right. It's been a couple days since that, or a couple meets since that happened.
Eric Bang pulling ahead slightly with Michael Brodslavsky following close behind. It looks as though Michael may be catching Eric.
FM really,
final 50.
FM really benefited from their turns. The push-offs from the wall they've been doing a great job at, and that really solidified their lead.
So Eric may have better turns than Michael, but Michael is able to catch himself up within the 25. So it'll be really interesting to see who's able to take first in this race.
That's actually Mark Brodslavsky, not Michael.
My bad.
The brothers, of course, Mark's a sophomore, Michael's a senior, and Mark looking to make a name for himself on this squad as well. He finishes in second with a 54.02, but a 52.76 goes to Eric Bang. Third place with a 56.38. is Garrick Snyder.
And it looks as though the lane 2 touchpad has not been working recently, so we will not have the final scores for this event either.
Why?
That's what we get for having older touchpads.
That's what we get for everything going so perfectly for the first 5 events. In the meantime, Eddie Elliott with a 57.79, Michael McGee with a 57.82. So the touchpads are malfunctioning, throwing off our ability to score. We will continue to attempt to talk to the officials throughout the meet and try to
Especially for
figure it
this
out.
event, getting that lane 2 time will determine who and which team won this event.
So it's a pivotal time as well.
Yes.
Just want to point out, lane 3, I believe that's Nate Wales, listening to music while he's waiting to get onto the starting block. It's an important ritual for a lot of people, a lot of athletes.
Yes, a lot of swimmers listen to music before big races.
And we're heading to the 500-yard freestyle now, which is normally Nate Wales' event, but he could be facing some tough competition here. Do we get that second camera back? We got it. Awesome. Lane 1 is Drew Babkian. Lane 2, Lucian Zenz. Lane 3, Nate Wales. Lane 4, Eli Kligerman. Lane 5, Nathan Walls. Lane 6, Max Vidakovich. They're resetting the scoreboard now. So you're telling me for once this broadcast going better than the official scoring? Well, we appreciate you sticking with us through thick and thin and lack of knowledge of scores. And once again, we will talk to the officials here and attempt to get you those scores as soon as they figure it out. Okay, we thought it was a scoreboard issue, but right now the scoreboard is left unattended. It's got to be so hard for the athletes to keep up your momentum and that hype that you've been building, just waiting on the starting block.
Yes, for a lot of athletes, though, it gives them a little bit more time to get into the right mindset. So it can be valuable if the athletes use it correctly. In addition, a lot of athletes are used to having to wait on the starting blocks. Things like this are pretty normal when it comes to high school swimming.
So they've taken the starting blocks now, and it looks like we're about to get underway. Quiet demanded. And we're off in the longest race of the day, the 500-yard freestyle. Now, Katie, you are a distance swimmer.
I am.
So we're going to be looking for your valuable insight today. And Wales looking to develop a decent... Did we just lose? We lost it again, didn't we? We lost it again. Well, something's going wrong. Let's try plugging this back into this other USB. But Nate Wales, as always, pulling out a sizable lead, but less sizable than we're used to seeing.
I think Nate Wales' lead will continue to increase as this race goes on. He's really good at pacing himself and has an ability to take a huge lead over his competitors. It will be interesting, however, to see who is able to take that second place finish.
Wales so consistent. Though we've also been highlighting in the last few races, Lucian Zenz has been making slow and steady progress improved his best time by, I believe, 8 seconds last meet. He is just 1 second away from qualifying for sectionals as well.
That is very close, especially in a longer event like the 500. A second is not a lot of time at all to drop, so he may be able to get that this meet.
If we see it, I think we'd all love to see it this meet.
Yes, the more sectional qualifiers, the better.
You know, it's a funny thing, sportsmanship in swimming, because, as always, we're rooting for everyone to do well, but in a timed event like swimming, you can root for everyone in the pool to go fast. You just hope that your team is faster.
Yes, definitely. That is one of the key things with a lot of these swimmers. They're always pushing each other to do better, and obviously they want to win, but at the end of the day, this strong competition provides them all with the opportunity to drop lots of time.
And Nate Wales, still with a sizable lead.
Nate Wales continuing to pull ahead with Eli Kligerman in second place. Nate is on his 11th 50 with our other swimmers just starting to go into their 11th 25. Some strong swims so far, although it looks as though the distance between all of these swimmers is beginning to increase as these swimmers spread out.
All right, what'd I miss?
Well, Nate is still pulling ahead. We have Eli Kligerman in second place.
Nate ahead by, it looks like, about 2 laps, or 2 lanes, excuse me.
Yes.
If you're just joining us, I'm Sam Gelfand, play-by-play commentator and resident IT expert, it seems. Joined by Katie Donaghue. Other people on this broadcast, Tyler Aitken, our producer, Claire Huyck, Emily Ninestein, and Bianca Wales on camera.
Nate Wales on his 15th 25 with the rest of our swimmers on their 13th lap.
Nate Wales is young as well. Just a sophomore, and he's already one of the better distance swimmers in upstate New York. The sky is the limit.
Yes, he's a very driven, hardworking swimmer, and I'm sure he will continue to improve greatly as he continues with his high school swimming career.
And I just realized the massive potential for his puns with his last name. He is whales. They swim. They are aquatic mammals. And Wales has certainly been taking to these distance events like a fish to water.
Nate Wales about to go into his final 50 of the 500. With second place, Eli Kligerman going into his 17th 25.
Swimmers pacing up and down the sidelines, cheering their teammates on. It's great to see.
The 500 is one of those events where it is extremely helpful to see your coaches and teammates on the sidelines cheering you on.
Wills attempting to finish this out strong. His best time is a 5:09.63, and he beats it by 2 seconds. 5:07.67. He is so much closer to that elusive New York State time.
Nate is one of those swimmers with the unique ability to be able to push himself even when he doesn't have someone who is swimming neck and neck with him. It takes a lot of determination and the right type of mindset to be able to get a best time when you're not really swimming against anyone with a similar time.
He is the only one to have finished so far.
Coming in second place with a time of 5:37.23.
All right, I stand corrected immediately.
And it looks as though we have a close race for fourth place between JD's lane 2 and FM's lane 6. In lane 3, we have
It's between Vidakovic and Zenz. Vidakovic will take it with a 5:55.68, 5:56.96 for Zenz. At least we have the scores for the 500 free. As Drew Babkin now will finish off. So while Nate Wells handily takes it, the drama comes in who's coming in fourth place and rounding out the field. Because of course you can give up that first place spot and still be doing well if you have enough people placing in later slots. Babkin finishes up with a timer is off, but it was around 6:50. So we can add up the scores now from the 500 free, although we are still waiting on scores from the 100 butterfly, 100 free, and, well, we got diving now. Yeah. We're missing a 100-yard butterfly and 100-yard freestyle. We'll get that as soon as we can, but the current score is 55-41. The Fayetteville-Manlius Hornets leading over the JDCBA Red Rams. You think you could get those scores for us right now? I can send Katie. Thanks. Let's talk about West Jetty. Under info bar. As we wait for the start of the 200-yard freestyle relay, a good comparison between these two teams. They haven't faced each other yet this season, but they both have faced West Genesee. And FM took it less comfortably than JDCBA did. FM only won 84-82 against West Genesee, while JDCBA won 97-85, which I think really speaks to the depth of JDCBA and their ability, no matter what the event may be, to produce multiple people who can place. But one of those factors that's keeping FM so close to JDCBA in this meet is the depth. Roster size. Roster size, info bar. Info bar roster size. As JDCBA has 37 swimmers, the most in the section, but FM has 30, which is the most of any opponent that JD has faced so far. There's going to be 2 heats of the 200-yard freestyle relay. This is one of 2. False start, lane 4 for the Hornets. 15-yard penalty, first down. Looks like Katie Donaghue furiously tabulating alongside the scoreboard operator. So hopefully when she comes back, we will get you the scores from those 2 missing events. So while we're waiting for everyone to reset, this first of 2 heats for the 200-yard freestyle relay. Lane 1 is Luke Henderson, Christian Fuller, Jacob Price, and Willem Arakchief. Lane 2 is Liam Wasserman, Drew Babkin, George Theobald, and Matt Sullivan. Lane 3, Sam Kim, Michael Berger, Braden McVicker, and Tim Sheftick. Hornets putting up 2 lanes here. Lane 4, Noah Sweet, Alexander Panol, Harry Hauser, and Lincoln Bulow. Lane 5, Derek Wong, Tim Heaton, Riley Neiman, and Eddie Camo. And if I'm getting anyone's last names wrong, please let me know in the comments. Normally we try to check before meets or games or whatever it may be, but with COVID we're attempting to limit our interactions with the opposing team. Do you have good news for us, Katie?
I do. I have the scores. So
fantastic.
For the 100 and points-wise, with finishes in 2, second, third, and fourth, with FM finishing in 1 or first, fifth, and sixth. And if you give me a second, I will get the overall scores tallied up.
That would be fantastic. Leading the pack right now in the freestyle relay is lane number 5 for the Hornets. Once again, this is heat 1 of 2. As we're tabulating the scores for the missing 2 events now, which is certainly a welcome relief for us here and those of you at home. lane 1 between Henderson, Fuller, Price, and Arakchev are leading the second place battle, although, hey, lane 2, Wasserman, Babkin, Theobald, and Sullivan not doing too bad themselves.
For an updated score, we have JD with 56 points and FM with 72.
We have never seen JDCVA not in the lead after the first 2 or 3 events this entire season. This is the first time that they've needed to make a comeback at some point during a meet, which says a lot about JDCVA's season, but it also says a lot about the Hornets that they're able to do this to the Red Rams and take such a convincing lead. Everyone really loves crowding around where the camera needs to be, don't they?
Yes, well, the coaches need to be at the side of the pool so that they can communicate with their swimmers while they're swimming and attempt to get them to swim faster.
Of course, the benches are also pooling, pun intended, by the edge of the pool, as the 200 free relay is one of those events that brings out the entire team. First place goes to lane 1 with a 145.79, so the cavalry arrived for JDCVA. Second place with a 157.48 was lane 5. Third place, lane 3 with a 202.86. Fourth place, lane 4 with a 203.21. And fifth place, 210.71 is lane 2. So now we go to the second and scoring heat of the 200-yard freestyle relay. You see here the New York State meet time is 1:30.12. No requirement for Section 3 Class A. As long as you show up in another event, hey, you can try the relay. So in lane 1 for JDCVA will be Luke Rystrom, Emmanuel Ignacio, Lucian Zenz, and Bobby Deal. Lane 2, Garrick Snyder, Lucas Holmquist, Sean Rigdon, and Luke Marino. Lane 3, Nathan Chen, Michael Brotslavsky, Mark Brotslavsky, and Nate Wales. Lane 4 for the Hornets, Lucas Wires, Eddie Elliott, Eric Omans, and Ben Rabin. Lane 5, Connor Gleesman, Michael McGee, Nathan Walls, and Eli Kligerman. And in lane 6, Liam Hartnett, Jack Anschel, Liam Gleason, and James Grace. The best recorded time of these 6 teams comes to JDCVA in lane 3 with a 1:33.95. Which is not too far off that New York State mark, I don't think, unless I remember it wrong. No, it's not. It's only 3 seconds away from the New York State time. A little bit more composure. That's not too far away, is it?
In a 50, when each swimmer is swimming a 50, that can be a lot. It is very hard to drop a second in the 50 for these swimmers.
If everyone drops 1 second.
Still, a second is definitely a very difficult thing to do in one season for a 50 free.
Of course, easier said than done right now. It's lanes 3 and 4 as Nate Shen and Lucas Wires, that friendly rivalry. Wires barely pulling ahead, but Shen scratching and clawing towards the end. The handoff will be just a half second quicker for FM. But this time, Michael Brotslavsky making up some time against Eddie Elliott. And he pulls ahead by a head, now a half a length. Brotslavsky making up the distance. It's a full length in just one 25-yard segment to the pool.
Next we have his brother Mark swimming.
Some sibling sorcery attempted by JDCVA here. As Mark continuing with that lead, the handoff off the starting block may not have been the crispest, but Brotslavsky still maintaining a half a length.
It looks as though it will come down to Ben Rabin and Nate Wales to see who takes this first place finish. 2 very talented swimmers.
Right now, Wales benefiting from the good start he got. He does the turn by about a half second more. But look at Rabin, he's trying to make up the time. Wales is going to have to push himself hard, and he does. It's 3/4 of a length as they finish up at the wall. JD CBA takes it 34-47 to 135-22.
Very nice finish from Nate Wales.
Oh, that was intense.
FM's lane 5 has taken 3rd place, with JD's lane 2 taking 4th.
Looks like we got the starting pad fixed.
Yes.
4th place goes to lane 2, 150.60. 5th place, lane 1, 154.16. And 6th place with a 154.19 is lane 6. .145 finishes for JDCVA, 2.36 for FM. So JDCVA takes the event, but only just. It's not going to be enough to make up much time or much of the gap in points at this present moment. You know, it's a great thing that somehow I found the only broadcasters on Earth who are good at math. Because
We'll
you
see
guys,
how accurate my math is at the end of this meet.
I guarantee you it's better than mine.
Score.
I guarantee it's better than mine. So our current score is 79-65. As we now go to the first of 2 heats for the 100-yard breaststroke. In heat number 1, lane 1 will be Michael DiBiase. This will be his first time swimming the 100 breaststroke. Lane 2, Sam Keener. Lane 3, Seamus Endries. Lane 4, Tim Heaton. Lane 5, James Grace. And lane 6, Joseph Antonacci. This has been a pulse-pounding matchup so far between these two teams. As Ben Vahey says in the comments, this is a really good broadcast for high school swimming. They have taken it to the next level, which we thank you, but we like to think this is a really good broadcast for anything, not just high school swimming. But hey, we've all got standards and goals that we're trying to reach for, you know? So now the 100-yard backstroke, 1 of 2 heats. We're missing people in 1 and 5. Guess they're just not running. There were supposed to be swimmers in lane 1 and 5 on the heat sheet, but they're not there. Or you can just imagine they're there and it's the same thing. Use the power of your creativity. It's one of those moments I want to try to live up to my my Twitter description of emo Mr. Rogers. But Seamus Endries, if that is Endries, because they usually change around the lanes.
It is Endries.
Usually when you're missing a couple people, they change around the lanes, but it looks like Endries is currently in the lead, though Tim Heaton just made up some of that time, but he's falling behind by half a length.
Really impressive to watch Endries swim, considering this is his very first season of swimming ever.
Of course, Endries, normally a track athlete, decided to take up swimming due to the pandemic, hoping he could get a better opportunity swimming since indoor track isn't happening.
He has very good times, considering he has never swam before.
Well, some people are just natural athletes as he takes it comfortably.
Definitely.
With a 1:21.62. We see the same thing. I would say the closest comparison in JD is Johnny Kibe, who, being a 4-star lacrosse recruit, was just all SCAC player of the year for soccer, and now he's joining the basketball team for the first time ever, because why not? He's going to Yale, by the way. Full lacrosse scholarship to Yale for Johnny Kibe. Hope he's doing well. Second place, lane 2 with a 128.58. That was Sam Keener. Speaking of, Katie Keener saying she's cheering on Sam Keener from Charlotte, North Carolina. We lost the cam again. Who's on plot? The camera's off. Press LV. It's on. Huh. Well, things were still going too well. We're getting ready for the scoring heat of the 100 backstroke, though.
This is a very young heat, comprised of all underclassmen.
Freshmen, sophomores, and if that's correct, then Derek Wong is a 7th grader on varsity.
Yes, FM does not have a modified team, so their 7th and 8th grade swimmers swim on the varsity team.
So it's Malcolm Britz, Kyler Huyck, Jamie Turo, Carter Page, Max Vidakovich, and Derek Wong in lanes 1 through 6, respectively. From now on, these last 3 events will be pivotal in determining the winner of this meet.
They definitely will be.
It is not too late for JDCBA to make a comeback. But right now, Kyler Huyck's going to have to dig it out against Carter Page.
It looks as though Jamie Turo is not swimming in this heat. It seems as though Michael DiBiase is in lane 3.
So DiBiase has been substituted for Turo. They really could have used Turo here because Turo has the best backstroke time of anyone on the team with a 102.07.
It does look as though Kyler Huyck might be able to edge out FM swimmer in lane 5 to get a 2nd place finish for JD.
Even if JD gets 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th, you know, the total sum of points there would make up for it. Page does finish first with a 102.92. 2nd place is Huyck with a 106.03. Hey, he beat his best. 3rd place is Vidakovich with a 106.36. 4th place with a 111.64 is DiBiase, who hit sectionals. Michael DiBiase hit sectionals, which is a little ray of sunshine. Looks like the camera may have run out of battery. Might have contributed to it. Your score is now 88-72. That's a healthy 16-point lead? Is that 16? Is my mental math correct?
I believe so.
A 16-point lead for FM. I got to get one of those calculator watches that Emily has.
Yeah. I believe that was a gift from the swimmer Seamus Endries.
There's a 4th battery if you need it. There's 2 heats coming up of the 100-yard breaststroke as we're desperately trying to figure out why this camera is suddenly not working for no reason. Lane 1, Sam Kim. Lane 2, Jacob Price. Lane 3, George Theobald. Lane 4, Jack Anschel. Lane 5, Alexander Pinole. Lane 6, Noah Sweet. Breaststroke, the quietest and perhaps most subdued of the strokes. Which is why, and this is true, most militaries actually train their Navy troops in the breaststroke. I was reading about this the other day. The Navy SEALs actually train in a modified doggy paddle, kind of like they're halfway on their side to make things quieter, which is doggy paddle very similar to breaststroke, though you won't see it in a high school meet. And George Theobald with a good lead for JDCBA. Of course, coming up on the second and scoring heat, we're anticipating great things from Nathan Chen, who is one of the top breaststrokers in all of New York State. Well, we got the camera back. Theobald finishes a 1:25.72. That's his new best. He beat his time by just under a second. Second place is Jack Anschel with a 1:29.46. Third place, Alexander Panol with a 1:30.27. Fourth place, 1:31.22 is Jacob Price. Fifth place, Sam Kim with a 1:32.99. And sixth place with a 1:43.69 is Noah Sweet. As pointed out in the comment section, yes, Nate Chen, not just one of the top breaststrokers, but one of the top dog owners.
This will definitely be a very interesting heat to watch. Nathan Chen, Ben Rabin, and Eric Omens are all three very talented breaststrokers.
Can we throw up Winter one more time? Just because we can. There he is. Outdoor. It's been the same photo all season, too.
Well, I have a lot of photos of Winter if we need some variation. Do not worry.
Yeah, it was difficult to choose which photo to put up there. I chose this one because it's the best shot of both of them, because you want to show the owner as well, of course. So now in the scoring heat, lane 1 is Willem Arakchev, lane 2 Emmanuel Ignacio, lane 3 Nate Chen, lane 4 Eric Omans, lane 5 Ben Rabin, and lane 6 Eddie Comeau. And as expected, Chen taking a lead.
If you watch Ben Rabin carefully, he has such a nice pullout. He really is able to travel so far off of it.
And about equal push-offs off the wall for both Chen and Omans, both getting almost halfway across the pool before re-emerging. This is a closer race than some may have anticipated between Chen and Omans.
At this point, it could really go to Chen, Omens, or Rabin for that first place finish.
Never did I expect this entire season to see Chen avoiding second place. You hear the benches coming alive, attempting to help with the strokes, trying to help the proper timing.
It is that first place finish.
It is going to be a photo finish.
Down to the finish, that final touch. And
it goes to Omans. 107.99 to 108.12. Take a look at the instant replay. 0.13 seconds, Omans takes it over Chen. I never thought I would see Nathan Chen take second place in anything. Third place, not to discredit, goes to Rabin with a 1:10.30. Fourth place, a 1:13.64 for Ignacio. Fifth place is Comeau with a 1:15.80, and sixth place with a 1:20.39 is Arakchev. It is 98.78, and I believe that guarantees that FM wins this meet. Even if they void the rest of their scores for this last event, JDCBA cannot make it up. So how about this? JDCBA undefeated no more. But as a formality, of course, we still got to go through that final event, the 400-yard freestyle relay.
I think it's still more than a formality. When you have those swimmers who go first, they can get sectional times off of that first relay leg. So the 400 relay is really important, even when the score of the meet is no longer in play.
You can lose the meet, but still have opportunities to do more things.
Exactly. It's a really great chance for those first leg swimmers to get some times in there. We'll have one heat of the 400 freestyle relay. In lane 1 for JDCBA, we have Drew Babican, Braden McVicker, Timothy Sheftick, and Samuel Kerner. In lane 2, we have Michael DeBiaz, Lucian Zenz, Andrew Tam, and Luke Henderson. In lane 3, we have Nate Wales, Garrick Snyder, Lucas Holmquist, and Luke Rystrom. In lane 4, we have Lucas Wires, Eddie Elliott, Jason Porter, and Eric Bang. In lane 5, we have Nathan Walls, Eli Kligerman, Max Vidakovic, and Carter Page. And in lane 6, we have Gordon Galley, Harry Hauser, Derek Wang, and Riley Neiman.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the second cord just snapped off inside of that camera. So we're down to one camera for the end of the meet. And right now, Nate Wales with a comfortable lead. Excuse me, that is Lucas Wires. Wales about 3/4 of a length behind. And he loses some time off that turn.
Yes, Lucas is more of a sprinter, whereas Nate is definitely more of a distancer. That's what makes seeing these two swim the 200 so interesting, is that it's kind of a mid-distance event.
Sorry, I'm still in shock over how we snapped 2 wires in one day. It's coming out of my paycheck. It's still down to lanes 3 and 4. And FM is
JD
falling
and FM are
behind.
Still neck and neck.
A better turn for FM, but JD making up the distance in the straights. I believe that's Garrick Snyder, who takes the lead for the handoff. And now Lucas Holmquist has to keep up that momentum against Jason Porter, which is going to be a tough task. Indeed, Porter taking a lead. Porter's gone from being behind by a head to ahead by a length. For some reason, none of FM's times seem to have been submitted into the heat sheet today, but the best time for lane 3 for JD CBA is 3:52.18. And Holmquist has just really struggled to keep pace with Porter. But who can blame him? Once again, this is our final varsity swimming broadcast of the season. We'll have one more modified contest coming at you Wednesday. And then starting Saturday, we'll be back with boys basketball. That'll be at 2 p.m. versus Christian Brothers Academy. The JD CBA team becoming just JD and CBA. We'll have varsity and junior varsity for you. I believe at 12 and 2 respectively. And as we discussed earlier, FM and JD will compete against each other in basketball on March 5th. In boys basketball, they should be scheduled to face each other in girls basketball as well.
FM's lane 4 finishing in first place with a time of 3:33.32.
That's 20 seconds faster than the best time for JD's top team.
Well, JD went a 3:43.95, so
They beat their time by 10 seconds.
Yes. They did drop that time a little bit.
That's quite a drop, 10 seconds, even in a 400 free relay. Third place went to lane 5 with a 4:03.55. Lanes 1, 2, and 6 still going at it. And in lane 6, it looks like Riley Neiman's struggling for breath, having difficulty keeping up. He's winded, but he's still going, and just the fact that he's still going is great. Great to see, and all of his teammates cheering him on the sidelines too. See, he's pushing with everything he's got. He's putting his body through a torturous performance, but he's able to finish it out. The adulation from his teammates. Finishes with a 4:54.68. Now, all that remains is the announcement of the final score. Keep in mind, we almost never see the score go above 100 in a meet. And the score is likely to change from what we have seen on the scorebook so far, as coaches will talk things out and they will drop certain times based on what is needed. Points may get dropped just as long as the team wins the meet. Doesn't matter if your points dropped.
Your lane takes care of pads of your lane. Let's go. Your lane takes care of pads.
So our final score is 107 to 85. The official score coming out later today may be a little bit different, but at least if no times are dropped, that is your final score. The JDCBA Red Rams fall in their first meet of the season against the FM Hornets, who will remain undefeated, bringing their record to 4-0. The Red Rams 5-1 now. And as we wrap things up here, we thank you so very much for joining us, not just today, but throughout this entire swim season. Don't forget, we'll be right back on Wednesday with modified action, and then Saturday with some boys basketball. And we hope that we'll see you there. But in the meantime, my name is Sam Gelfand. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Katie Donaghue, and all of us here at JDTV bringing you this broadcast, we hope that you have a very great day wherever you may be.